Oi, oi. So, this is going to be the first in a pretty long series about my experiences being in a band. These might be obvious things, things that people should know, stories, or even random ass things that you wouldn't really think about. I don't know what to call it, so I'm going to just call it, for now, being in a band. If anyone comes up with a better title, let me know and I'll rename it. I'm pretty excited to start this series because I always feel like I have to apologize to people every time I start going on about the band. So it'll be cool to talk about what I love. All right, well, let's get this show on the road. Today, I want to talk about networking at shows with people in the crowd and with other bands of the show because it really is fascinating. First, I want to talk about the crowd. What networking with a crowd looks like as a local band, at least for my band, is walking around the venue and introducing yourself and the band. What we do is we take a team, usually me and my bass player, and we walk around with patches, business cards, and stickers and buttons if we have them. We also carry the little lock box we have for money, so if we, sell patches, then, we don't have to just carry the money in our pocket, and we can give change if need be. So we pick one side of the venue, say the back corner, then we make our way around talking to everyone. If there are tables like they have on the upper levels of some of the smaller venues and at bars, we hit those first. We'll go up to the tables, introduce ourselves, talk about what we're doing, try to sell some patches, and really just leave a good impression on the people at the table. Because they may not be there for us. We often play shows with 3 or 4 other bands, so there's a few people for every band, and we want to connect with their fans. So we try to make these people remember us. Sometimes they're like fucking kids, but other times they're really receptive and cheerful, and they like what we're doing. And this is actually an incredible experience because you will interact with people from all walks of life. We've played shows where the audience was almost solely middle-class white people that were family of the bands. And it's interesting to hear their stories, but they're often a little off-put by a bunch of dirty punks walking up with battle jackets and boots. I met a guy once who bought a patch, not because he had a battle jacket or anything, but because he was going to sew it onto his flight suit. Never expected to sell a patch for that reason. At the same show, we were networking around the audience, handing out demos, a little less successful than we wanted to be. We got onto the floor because originally we were on the upper level where they had tables, like I talked about, where people were just standing. We walked up to this group of three guys. They were middle aged, a little older. But they told us it was cool. We actually went up and talked to a bunch of old bucks, as they put it. They were great. We played a show at this DIY punk venue, and we're hanging out with some of the people there. I'll never forget the one guy. He was that dude in the pit that hypes everyone up and never runs out of energy. But he was so fucking cool to talk to. We were talking to him, and I mean, he was a super chill guy. Really high energy, but just cool to talk to. Completely broke. We actually ended up giving him, I think, like $2.50 or something for the bus fare. Kind of felt bad for the guy, but it's not really uncommon to see people that are broke as a joke at our shows. Now, on to networking with the other bands. This is really fucking cool. Like, honestly, if I had to pick my favorite part about playing shows, other than performing, of course, this would be it. Because load is always an hour or two earlier than doors even open. And if you've ever been to a concert, you know the opening band doesn't go on right as doors open. There's generally about half an hour or so, maybe even more. So if you aren't the opening band, you've got a ways to go before you do anything. So what can you do? Well, you can make sure your instruments are in tune. You can get your drum kit set up as it gets closer to your set. So that way you can get the kit up on stage as quick as possible when it is time for your set. You can sit there with your thumb up your ass, or you can hang out with the other bands. Now, you better be watching the other acts while they're playing, because that's common courtesy. But between acts, definitely hang out with the other bands. We play with this one band quite a bit. They're called Discreech. They're a local Denver band, and they're fucking amazing. If you're a fan of 80s heavy metal, definitely check them out. They're seriously the coolest guys to hang out with. Real laid back. My bandmates and I sat and talked with their drummer about video games for like 10 or 15 minutes. It was great. There's another band we play with called Obsidon. They're a little high energy, but good guys. And one of the best things about networking with other bands like this is that if you find out that you're playing the same show, you can share equipment. So basically, you get in touch with the other band and go, "Hey, we'll let you guys use our amps if we can use your drums." And because nobody wants to bring both amps and drums, now you both only have to bring half the equipment. Or if something goes wrong, the other band will be willing to help you out. My drummer forgot that his hi-hat stand was busted about 30 minutes before we were supposed to go on. Not ideal fucking timing, but what can you do? The drummer for Discreech really bailed us out of that one by lending us some equipment to fix it. It was really one of our first interactions with the Screech, so it was cool of them to do that. It was the first show we played with them. They didn't really know us, but they were willing to help us out. And it's that kind of altruism that I love about the local music scene, because it's really not uncommon for bands to help each other out like that. And I don't see that too often in other places these days. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, especially if you have stories to tell about networking with fans and other bands. Share this video with your friends, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Stay chaotic, my friends.